Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the Apothecary Diaries, a show I hadn't seen and I'm still not completely finished. I'm up to episode 10 of currently 16, so I'm making decent progress, but I was super curious, so I wanted to talk about it. It's a different show than the ones I normally watch, but what made me watch it was the sheer consistency of the show. I saw the show was ranked really highly on my anime list. It was on the top 10 of every anime watching site that I saw. It wasn't number 1 or 2, but it was number 5, 6, 7, 8 on all of them, and that just made me curious. I figured, hey, it has to be something good if it's ranked and viewed so highly across the board, right? And turns out that was spot on. The show is a diamond in the rough. It's so good. It deals with serious issues and it gives them the time they deserve to feel emphatic, and yet still has humor and comic relief without taking away from the serious main plot. The animation, when it has a moment to shine, certainly shines, and the plot twists at the end of the episodes, and I use that term a little liberally, but they're done really well, where they change the whole paradigm of the entire episode. That little monologue for me at the end is so valuable and adds so much depth. It very much gives me detective vibes, like a anime version of the Sherlock BBC series, if someone knows what I'm talking about. I've also always been a fan of episodic episodes. When I say episodic, or episodic shows rather. When I say episodic, I mean a show that has different stories in every single episode, because being able to tell a coherent storyline, start to finish in a 24-minute episode, at least to me, is a really difficult and beautiful art form. If you're able to coherently tell that entire story without it feeling rushed, without it feeling like, hey, it didn't have too much detail or depth, that is so valuable to me. And it's just always been really good for more long-running shows if you're able to make them episodic, because it doesn't force the viewer into watching previous episodes if they missed any. And it just allows for a sense of continuity without it necessarily having to be step by step. And that's valuable to me. In particular, for me, episodes 3 and 8 were phenomenal. In episode 3, we had a mystery of a concubine who had been sleepwalking and was scaring everyone at night. But the plot twist at the end of the episode, where we find out she wasn't actually sleepwalking and it was all a facade, was brilliant and gave me goosebumps. I'm not going to go into too much detail, just in case I manage to convince someone to watch the show who hasn't previously, and I don't want to ruin that for them, because that moment was so valuable to me. And episode 8, where we see at least what we're led to believe at the start to be a double suicide or murder, and that's sort of the premise that the entire episode we're working on, and trying to figure out who did it, what was the cause, what could lead someone to do that, and that sort of thing. And that all of that gets flipped on its head in the last 3 minutes. Obviously, there's other stuff to the show, of course. I could mention, like a smart but lovable goofball of a main character, a very decent side cast that feels memorable, etc. All the basic stuff that all good shows have. But to me, those that I mentioned were the things that stood out to me, and I just wanted to talk about them. And, that's pretty much it for this video. See ya.